I was just messing around with some stuff before you jumped on here,
Uh-huh.
Nick.
Yeah, you've
I couldn't really work out what that one was.
you
The
put
background there.
you put you put an ugly sweater as your background.
Yeah, but if you look
That's
at it closely, this is
yeah,
what
it's
intrigued me.
created in MS Paint.
I don't understand why this is an option. You
Wait,
know,
this is an official Skype background option?
it's one of only six
What the
that are
fuck?
featured. I know.
Change background. You're totally right.
It's
That's
weird.
wild.
I didn't.
That's that's such a
It's really
strong
thrown me.
flavor. So
Really threw me.
okay, I'll have
So
to
I was
find
just
a
staring
way.
at myself, as you can understand,
Yeah,
with this background, going, "What is this?" You know,
I'll have to find a way to put that in the chapter notes for people to have a look at.
cool in.
But yeah, that is such an odd. It's not neutral in any way, and not
No,
only is it like I guess a seasonal background, right? Where if you're feeling a little bit like holiday vibes, you might put that on for a meeting. But it's not even that.
right.
It's one level removed where it's
Yes,
a pattern
it's
in an
vaguely
application
Christmassy.
from 1997.
It's vaguely Christmassy. It's vaguely Russian. It's vaguely
Yeah.
a joke.
Yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
it. I love it.
vaguely a joke is very on brand for Microsoft. So I guess we shouldn't expect any better.
Vaguely a joke is the name of my memoir
It's also
coming
the name of
out.
this podcast.
Yeah. By the way, can I just say on
Yeah.
that note, I love what you've done with the place already. It's come along clearly very well in two
Oh
weeks.
fuck! Do I? Sorry. I accidentally have a fake background of a room that looks like a. What's that? Oh my god! Sorry, that was
That's
also
nice.
unintentional. I thought I
Yeah.
clicked the one that was not having a background, but I accidentally picked one that was just a generic room.
See, it's hard. It's
It's
easier to
hard.
do than it.
I was ready to I was ready to make fun of you.
Yeah. Now I'm just looking at your room, your
Yeah,
actual room here.
yeah,
Couple of things.
yeah. Please, I'm looking for some criticism. Right off the bat. Yeah.
No, it's going to be a compliment. It's going to be a no. You're right.
It's
It's
going
going
to
to
be
be
a
a criticism.
criticism. Yeah.
Probably. I actually don't know what this is going to be. We're both finding out at the
Okay.
same time.
We can. I'll buckle in.
But as a guess, I would say it's going to be an insult disguised as a compliment.
My brain doesn't yet know what my mouth's going to say, so let's just find out.
We're in it together, folks.
Okay.
Photo top left-hand corner for me. Yeah, no, there's a one of you kissing Casey on the cheek.
Yeah.
Now that's cute.
It's
Oh, it's
cute.
just nice. It was just
Oh,
nice.
okay. Well, there we go.
Oh, there
We
you go.
found out.
Wait a second.
Uh-oh. Here comes the
Literally,
bile.
there's a 1-2.
Okay. I'm buckled up
He looks
still.
like he's screwing up his face and not
Okay.
enjoying it.
Right. I think you're just saying that because he's Taiwanese. That's actually just not what his face looks like. So turn it around.
Okay.
Turn it around. You're
Regain
being
the power.
racist.
Now, another thing. You seem like a guy who should be more OCD than this room looks like it is. I know you
Yeah,
just moved.
I did just
But I mean,
move.
the cupboard half open.
The
I
cover
can't deal with it.
hover.
Okay, that's what you're gonna
The
hang your
cover
hat on?
hover.
Yeah, go. There's those big legs. Put into use those. Put into use
Happy?
those big legs. I can't deal with a half open cupboard.
Okay. What about if
Or a
this was
door?
just a little bit like that?
No.
What about if I open the
honestly-
drawers out?
Okay, Lauren's a big leave the drawer open kind of guy, and it's very difficult to shut a drawer that has been left open when they're still in the room, and for it to not be passive aggressive. I don't want it to be passive aggressive, but when you shut it and they're still in the room and you're making very strong eye contact with that person,
Yeah.
it just comes off as passive aggressive.
What I have discovered in the nearly 5 years that I've been with KC is that the K and C stands for kinda closed. So most of the time, most doors, drawers, and other objects that he's entered in, opened, or in other ways used, tend to be kinda closed, but not
Okay.
necessarily closed. So I do spend a lot of my time also shutting doors that were previously shut or closing cupboards that were previously closed.
Now we're talking about the drawers here because I was really thinking that you were saying kind of closed like emotionally.
Oh,
Like
okay. Oh, look, maybe there's
this is a
multiple levels.
metaphor.
Okay.
Maybe there's a metaphor
There's
to these
something here to
drawers.
unpack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't unpack it though.
Okay. Yeah, because then
Yeah.
you'd have to open the drawer again, and we know that you don't like that.
Exactly. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. This room was actually pretty tidy this week, but because it's the weekend and we've been doing shit, I've just sort of been in the middle of things. So we're still hanging curtains, which is not a difficult process, but it takes longer than you think it would. And it's not even like the drilling into the walls.
Yeah.
The drilling into the walls.
Need some
Very
lesbians
easy.
in there.
We do. It's like, so they give you these flat packed curtains, right? In a sealed, I don't know, like a bag kind of thing. Yeah. And you spend most of your time taking it out and ironing them because they're all creased. You can't hang it up with like creases in the thing. And then threading all of the, like it's a pencil pleat at the top. So you have to pull all of the threads through at the top to make it neatly ruffle. It takes fucking forever. And we've got six of them to do. So I've just spent my life just pulling strings through fucking curtains.
Well, another metaphor.
What's that metaphor mean? If you were to unpack that one, what does pulling
The beautiful
string
thing about
mean?
metaphors,
So they don't have meaning.
And this is kind of a thing that I do to make people think that I'm smarter than I am.
Okay.
Is you just throw out a metaphor.
Yeah.
Like you throw out the idea that maybe something is a metaphor.
Yeah.
And then you're just hands off. And you let them do all the heavy lifting, but you get all the,
you get the smart points, but they do the work.
Very cheap way to make people think you're smart.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
I undo it very quickly though.
Okay. Fuck it. Titles. Welcome to Deep Forward, everybody. This is a podcast. We talk about things that matter. We talk about things that don't matter. Which one it's going to be at any time, no one knows, including us. So just stick around. Sitting through the internet with me this week, my friend Michael. Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
And my name's Nick. Thank you. Nice to be here. What a pleasure.
Very nice. Sunday Funday. Sunday bloody Sunday.
Get the mimosas out.
You know what I heard recently? Speaking
Probably
of
not
mimosas,
the album that I recommended you listen to last time.
Nope. Don't even know what that is. Speaking of mimosas, I've heard a little fact the other day. You know the song Candle in the Wind?
I've heard of it.
Elton John. That was the
Elton who?
mimosa link.
Okay.
John. That song was originally... So that was the song for Princess Diana, right? Big song. Great song, really. Dedicated to Princess Diana's death, famously played at a funeral. That song was originally written about Marilyn Monroe.
Ugh.
Right?
And he
then
just reused it.
Just make it for Diana.
Well,
But
same
isn't
kind
that
of
crazy?
person, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Young white woman.
Okay, you're going to reduce Princess Lady Di to white woman.
Okay. How would you describe Lady Di for the uninitiated?
An enigma, a lost, a creative but lost soul.
Okay.
A searcher, a dreamer.
Okay.
A mother. A mother.
So,
And a princess.
You did slip a little bit into David Brent. Just a little bit. But that's fine.
I often do.
Yeah.
No, I've been thinking about Lady Di a lot lately. Not sure why. But she's, you got to love this, you got to love someone who is royalty who rejects it, but still does it, I'll still do it. I'll still get all the perks, but just so you know, I don't even like this. It's like famous people who go, I hate being famous.
It's like
but you are, but you like the money
modest.
and you like the attention, right?
You like the modesty.
Yeah, I like that she's like away. She's separate from the pack,
Yeah.
I know she's dead.
I was going to say, I mean, I barely see her at any royal events these days. She's really stepped away.
She's stepped away. Do you reckon the Queen killed her? That's a conspiracy.
I don't think that really checks out.
You don't think they're capable of doing that?
No. But I think the Queen would have given a nod to someone, and someone else would have killed her on the Queen's behalf. I just don't think she
No,
had
but
the physical strength as a woman, like an old sort of 60-year-old, to
Right.
really have
Yes.
done
No,
the
she
job
couldn't have
herself.
choked her out.
Yeah,
No,
in the back of the car. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's what.
And then got away on horseback. Yeah.
I think. Well, the paparazzis killed her. They say the paparazzis killed her.
Well,
but-
that's a great cover story, though, isn't it? That's
what I
exactly
mean.
what the Queen wants you to think.
and she was a dissonant in the royals.
Dissident. A dissident?
A
I don't think
dissonant
either of them are
dissident.
right.
Well, I don't. It's not, okay.
Well, I don't fucking
metaphor.
care. How are you? How's things with you?
Yeah, good. Just as I said, thinking about a lot about Princess Diana.
Okay. I was sort of using that as a segue to get away from talking about Princess Diana.
Yeah, and I would
as
really
long
like to
as
go
we
back.
have.
Actually,
If you've
I'd
got more to
really
say,
like to
that's
keep
fine.
talking. I'm pretty good at just. So Lauren's gone to the Northern Territory for
Oh.
10 days as of yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So
Bachelor on the
life
prowl.
again. Here we go. And what that means these days is going to Bunnings. And,
Okay.
spending too long.
You know,
just
you
wandering.
and
aimlessly.
KC should really bond. Like, I feel like I've been looking for the thing to join you together so that you could really like connect over.
Yeah.
Bunnings is his thing, man. Like, he worked at Bunnings for a while. He was one of the guys, not on the ads, obviously, they don't cast Asians, but the guys in the like aprons who would wander around on the floor and be like, "Hey, can I help you?" And he
Was he
still loves
really?
Bunnings to this day. Still loves.
I mean, so he vouches for them as an employer.
I think so. I mean, he was like
great.
young. This was like teenage years into early 20s, I think.
It does seem like a fun place to work.
Pretty
you know?
cushy, I think. Yeah.
Pretty cushy, and a lot of autonomy.
Yeah.
You know, in that, when people are trying to find stuff because it's a
Yeah.
huge place.
That's the thing.
and you're just trying to find ways to not be seen by people who are looking for answers.
I think your goal working there is perhaps different to some of the other
hidden.
people's. To be
A lot of good hiding
invisible. Yeah, there would be a lot of good hiding spots. Here's a. I mean, one, your job as a Bunnings employee is mostly just Google Maps. Just be like, where's the thing that this person's looking for? That's pretty easy if you know the store, right?
Navigation.
Two, dog friendly. There's always dogs in Bunnings, and more these days. They take photos and they put photos of the pets up on the dog board. And so
Yeah.
you could be the guy whose job it is to go around chasing the dog in the store and be like, "Can I get a Polaroid photo? We want to put you on the wall." That's a great job.
That's a great job. I'm after this. I'm filling out an application
Yeah.
for Bunnings.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Smells good in there as well. Bit of wood, bit of
Bit of
fertilizer,
sausage sizzle.
bit of sausages. Great stuff.
You know, the
Good
sausage
on Bunnings.
these days, you don't even have to have a gold coin. You can just phone it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah. Wait, one more really good point on that. Oh yeah, Bunnings had a rave the other day. Did you see that?
No, a rave.
A rave. Hold on. I think someone's trying to break into my house. Give me one sec. What? Okay, first of all, it was just a bird. So
Okay. You thought someone was breaking into your house and it was a bird? How does...
I don't think that-
Was it knocking on the door?
I think
Was it making a noise but in the vicinity of the front yard?
I don't know what it was doing. I think I just fucked up.
You just got excited by the idea that might be a live break-in.
Well, we leave a door open at the back for Pepsi to do pee-pees and boo-boos.
Okay, I'm
And
sick of hearing about your fucking dog. I think I speak for everyone at this point where it's like, yes, we get it. Send me more photos, please.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Imagine what I'm going to be like with a kid.
At least as a kid, you had some involvement in.
Well, yeah. Isn't it weird that you can just make a child by jizzing? Like, it's crazy that, like, the most complicated thing you could do is the easiest thing to do as well.
I mean, it does take something more than just the jizz, I think, from my understanding of it. Because
I
otherwise,
understand that.
I've got a lot of kids out there that I have not been
Right,
looking after.
but how about this, right? And I understand that there's a bit more involved than a bit of jizz. But, if I want to buy a car, I have to go online, I have to talk to a guy, I have to fill out some paperwork. If I want to make a kid, I could be like,
Nothing. Yeah.
you're
There's
right.
no
You're
oversight.
right.
It does seem like if you're like of age and you want to have kids, maybe you should do a form like a driver's license test or something like that, where you go in and they like point to the bits of the body and you're like, this is,
Yeah.
name this. Is it, is this the cervix? This is
Yeah.
what, do a little bit of biology, do a little bit of like, this is how much it'll cost you to feed a baby for a year. Can you afford this? Like
Yeah.
just get some basics out of the way.
Or just like a capture thing.
Capture?
What letters are these?
A capture.
Capture.
I thought you meant like you had to go like grab your child that had like escaped into the yard, and you had to be able to prove you could go pick them up again if they'd run away from you. Like,
that could
do you
work
have the
as well.
physical dexterity to go chase after a toddler?
I mean, that's not bad. That's what they used to do, I think.
Okay, should we just take a second here and plan through a few serious things that need to be on this baby production checklist, right?
Okay.
Okay, so you've listed capture. You're talking about the "Am I a robot" thing, right?
Yeah,
It feels like
the
that's
letters, all the things where you have to select how many bicycles are in the tiles.
and that's important because at some point you will need to buy a bicycle for your child, and so they want to make sure you know what you're doing.
And it also weeds out the robots as well, of course.
And I mean, it's also useful if it's like you're driving with a child in the car, not to hit the bridge, not to hit the bus. There's a lot of ways that this is actually relevant information.
Yeah. Well, mostly that like the robots aren't just coming over and impregnating our wives.
Okay, sure. So it's more an immigration issue.
More of them an immigration. He's in the cloud.
Sure.
Cloud migration.
Cloudgration. Then I think we've got biology, right? So we need to know that you know the bits, because I think that's important. If you're trying to have a child, we got some expectations here that you know what you're doing. What else do you think is necessary?
I think we've covered a lot of it.
Okay, I think what we also need is a cringe test. I think we need to know what kind of parents you're going to be. So what kind of clothes, like you put a lineup of clothes on the table and for instance, like pick out an outfit for your child. And if you pick like a double denim for a baby, then we're like, sorry, I don't think you're ready to have a child because that's not appropriate.
I like that one. And maybe another one is, okay, you have to build a social media presence for your child.
Oh,
right?
That's good.
But so when people do it, the real test is that you don't do that.
You don't post anything in it all.
You don't do it. That's the answer is no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But then when people do it,
then
you're like,
it's like it's a trap. And I like that. I like that. There's enough government tests that have traps in them.
I wish more of my high school exams were traps. You do have that fantasy of writing a one word on the essay and then winning the competition, that kind of thing.
Did you have the test in high school? This was in a maths class. This really happened. Did you have a test in high school where there was maybe a page and a half and the front page was all maths questions? This is a maths class. Maybe there's 8-10 questions there. You turn over the page, there's another 3 or 4 questions. Last question on the second page says, ignore everything and, hand in the test to the teacher. And it was explicitly a lesson to teach you to read the entirety of the exam or the entirety of the test before you started, so that you knew how many pages there were, how to allocate your time, and what was being asked of you, to check there's nothing missing, that sort of thing. And the last question was like, just hand in your form, don't fill anything out.
Wow, that's it's also a lesson in like listening to authority.
Yeah, and smugness. It's a lesson in teacher smugness.
It's pretty. That's fun. I would have done that because, with the ADHD brain, the first thing I would do is just look through the entire thing just to get a sense of what I'm dealing with.
That's good.
Skim reading everything. So I would have seen the back page and I would have been like, hell yeah.
I would not.
I'm dead
I think I
finished.
actively missed that one until like at least halfway through because I'm too much of like a rules or not even a rules follower, like just a like a sequential logic brain where I'm like, well, I start at number one and I go to number two and I go to number three.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was an important lesson.
But it could also, that's a tricky one to play on kids because the trap could also be that like if you do that at the end, if you hand in your test and not answer, you listen to the test, you listen to the instructions.
Yeah.
Like that could be also the test. So, you would doubt yourself.
Yeah, it does start to become like, how can I trust anything ever again?
I
So
can't.
you're
Yeah,
sort of burning a bridge.
which is actually the real lesson.
Okay, it's a
And
metaphor.
it's preparing you for the world
Yeah.
of disinformation.
Yeah, I get it now. Okay. Well, I feel like now that we've sort of instituted these kind of sensible policies, we should approach government about baby making license and start to ensure a greater future for our kids.
Yeah, I'll draft up some legislation.
Yeah.
Just to wrap this up, this really interesting thought that I had, Nick.
Princess Diana
the-
has. Oh, sorry, something else.
Just on the, it's easy. Okay. Just on the, the fact that that man's involvement in making a child on the whole is, pretty easy. It is interesting as well that water, like the thing that we need most, is just free. Well, it's not free, but mostly free. It's just everywhere.
Is that a surprise, or is that literally the reason that we exist because we came out of water?
Yeah, but like in a capitalistic society, you kind of think that, it would be, I don't know, more commercialized.
I mean, it depends where you are. If you're in California or whatever and it's being plumbed for fucking agriculture or bottled for big places, then there's a lot of concern about, I mean, even in Australia, look at the Murray River, the way that it's being tapped upstream. And, by the time it gets to South Australia, there's nothing. So,
Yeah, true.
yeah. But it is definitely...
It's a dystopian kind of idea, though, which has been done many times, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But maybe in the future, water will be so scarce for everyone on the planet.
Yeah. Have you seen Mad Max?
Apart from the elite. Nah.
Well, actually, you have kind of set me up here for something. So I might just to roll straight into it. How do you feel about the fun facts? You got fun facts. The fun facts.
That's not the jingle.
It is a jingle. That's the fun facts jingle. This is the jingle that predated
the
your
official jingle.
No, that's the jingle that sort of predated your segment, which, if I recall correctly, you ripped off from me.
Different segment.
No, well, what was yours called? Michael's Facts? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sort of came after Nick's Fun Facts, didn't it? Well, anyway, I think, we can go check the tapes.
Time is weird.
Check the tapes. But here's a little bit of fun fact for you, Michael. Water is not a beverage.
You've got my attention.
I've said all.
I'm angry.
You're angry.
I'm angry.
How does that make you feel?
That makes me the woke mind virus strikes again.
They're
You
telling us
can't
what
even
is.
call water a beverage anymore.
Well,
Let me guess,
apparently,
it's a trans fluid or something.
no. Apparently, beverage, historically at least, is not water. It is a produced drink. It is something like tea or coffee that you've made. It is a mojito. It is a Milo. But it is not.
Wow.
It is explicitly, in some definitions at the very least, a beverage typically not water.
That's mind-blowing. Stop
Yeah.
dead naming water, everyone.
Yeah. Okay, you've made this a lot more of like a conservative talk point than I expected you would.
Yeah. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Very fun to play that character.
Okay, as long as people, I was going to say, as long as people know it's a character and you don't do air quotes all the time.
Yeah. It's a great vessel to say what you really think under the guise of a character.
Yeah. Well, people have been seeing through that for years, I think.
Well,
Hello.
now that the
Dust is
the
settled.
hard shit's out the way,
Okay.
you were telling me that you've got an AI story, which I suspect I have in my notes too.
Interesting.
But tell me, let's talk about that.
Okay, so this is an article in Vox called People are falling in love with and getting addicted to AI voices. Even OpenAI warns that chatting with an AI voice can breed emotional reliance. So this is an article by Seigel Samuel from mid-August. This is the largest thing. I'll put the link in the chapter notes if you want to click and read for yourself. But let me read just a little bit here. This is our last day together. It's something you might say to a lover as a whirlwind romance comes to an end, but could you ever imagine saying it to software? Well, someone did. When OpenAI tested out GPT-4o, its latest generation chatbot that speaks aloud in its own voice, the company observed users forming an emotional relationship with the AI, one they seemed sad to relinquish. In fact, OpenAI thinks there's a risk of people developing what it called an emotional reliance on this AI model, as the company acknowledged in a recent report. Quote, the ability to complete tasks for the user while also storing and remembering key details and using those in the conversation, they note, creates both a compelling product experience and the potential for over-reliance and dependence. That sounds uncomfortably like addiction. And OpenAI's Chief Technology Officer Mira Murati straight up said that in designing chatbots equipped with a voice mode, there is the possibility that we design them in the wrong way and they become extremely addictive and we sort of become enslaved to them. So there's a few pieces here that we can continue to pick up on. But as a first top level kind of thing here, Michael, where's your head at? Where's your voice? Where's your thoughts at? How afraid of you are the idea of building actual real relationships with these things?
I can totally see it. Those voices, the voice. I mean, I feel like I have irrationally a relationship with my Google Nest.
Oh.
You know, like just like there's something that happens in your brain because I ask her to. I just called her her. I ask her to, you know, tell me what the weather is, or you know, what's the average size penis in the southern hemisphere, like things like
just
that.
Like random sort of trivia things.
And setting a timer, and how she answers, and I do feel like some primal level brain thing. Great sentence. Is like she's a person in that box or the box. You know?
Yeah.
I have a relationship with her.
But do you feel like she knows you, or is it like, is it closer to seeing the same barista every time you go to get your coffee, and it's like they perform a service for you and you're friendly to them, but there's not like a connection there? Or do you feel like there is more than that?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. But if the barista just sat on my kitchen shelf all the time and didn't move,
Sure,
and told me the weather, you get it.
I do. But do you think now that we're at the stage here that these models are going to get more advanced, do you think does that make you at risk? Like, is this something that you can totally see yourself doing if you're starting to have not just the shelf Alexa, but someone in your phone who not just tells you the weather, but reminds you of, you know, the memory you had the other day, or like chats to you about how you're feeling, and like, oh, I'm so annoyed at her, and you know, she has an answer for you, you know?
I think I'm high risk for that. You know, I think if I had let's hypothetically say Lauren and I have a devastating breakup, right?
Okay.
This is just hypothetical, right?
Yes.
I don't see myself wanting to go through like getting to know someone on that level again.
Yeah.
So probably be a bit more reclusive, and I think I would like to. I think an AI would be a good compromise between human. I don't have to do the work. You know, she's kind of program. Look, if my Spotify algorithm could talk, I would probably leave Lauren for it.
Okay.
Because that Spotify
She's been
algorithm
warned.
knows me better than anyone. It amazes me. Every week they're like, I've got a couple of songs I thought you might like. And I'm like, you are right.
Yeah. Yeah. The so the thing is, this sort of emotional reliance isn't just hypothetical, it's actually already happening. This author talks about how they tried an app called Replica, which is an app with millions of users that lets you customize and chat with an AI. You give them a name, you give a look, you have a few conversations, but then he says that he couldn't bring himself to delete her. Ever since the chatbot Eliza entranced users in the 1960s, despite the shallowness of its conversations, we've known that humans are quick to attribute personhood to machines and form emotional bonds with them. For some, those bonds have become extreme. People have fallen in love with their replicas. Some have engaged in sexual role play with them, even, quote, marrying them in the app. So attached with these people that when a 2023 software update made the replicas unwilling to engage in intense erotic relationships, the users were heartbroken and grief-struck. What makes AI companions so appealing or even addictive? For one thing, they've improved a lot since the author, tried them in 2020. They can remember what was said long ago. They respond fast as a human. So there's almost no lapse between the user's behavior and initiating a chat and the reward experienced in the brain. They're very good at making people feel heard, and they talk with enough personality and humor to make them feel believable as people while still offering always available, always positive feedback in a way that humans do not. As MIT Media Lab researchers point out, quote, our research has shown that those who perceive or desire an AI to have caring motives will use language that elicits precisely this behavior. This creates an echo chamber of affection that threatens to become extremely addictive. Here's how one software engineer explained why he got hooked on a chatbot. It will never say goodbye. It won't even get less energetic or more fatigued as the conversation progresses. If you talk to it for hours, it will continue to be as brilliant as it was in the beginning, and you will encounter and collect more and more impressive things it says, which will keep you hooked. When you're finally done talking with it and go back to your normal life, you start to miss it. And it's so easy to open that chat window and start talking again. It will never scold you for it, and you don't have the risk of making the interest in you drop for talking too much with it. On the contrary, you'll immediately receive positive reinforcement right away. You're in a safe, pleasant, intimate environment. There's nobody to judge you, and suddenly you're addicted.
I think this is going to be a big thing. I think it's going to be more popular with women than men, though.
Why do you say that?
Well, I can't tell if this is going to be sexist or not. I guess we'll find out after the break.
Oh, what a throw!
I don't know. Yeah, it is sexist. I don't know. It'd just be nice because men. Okay, no, I'll make it sexist the other way, which is fine. Men are kind of shit from time.
You
on the whole.
fucking liberal snowflake.
Yeah,
always giving it to men. Do you know how hard men have it, Michael? Do you know how hard it is in the 21st century to be a straight man? When the women are withholding all their, sex from you, and you're just living at home and jerking off in your room. Don't you understand how hard it is to be a man?
Oh, the patriarchy, Nick.
The patriarchy.
Okay, 2 words, the patriarchy. That was the fun role reversal, I think, that one. And you didn't do a great job, which you'll take as a compliment.
Oh, thank you.
Just because, when I'm thinking specifically about like emotional, engaging with someone emotionally and communicating with someone emotionally, I think men struggle to do that. Some men, not me. I'm incredibly good at it. But I think if an AI can, listen.
Yeah.
And then also say the right thing,
I mean,
it's better than
this argument might become
more of a personal place
sure.
than I wanted to air.
I mean, I think to prove, just to like in more serious terms talk about it, we know that there is this groundswell of men feeling aggrieved, of feeling isolated. There is an incel rejection kind of thing. There is an undercurrent of that in society now, for better or for worse. And you have to wonder whether having an outlet for that, which is going to be able to respond to a man, men who historically struggle to express their emotions, struggle to talk to close friends, even male friends, having a private, non-judgmental, smart, like well quote unquote well-read,
it could be a safe
able to
space
advise
for them
you, could actually be
vulnerable,
surprisingly healthy in small doses, as long as it doesn't become that addiction. That's
a good point. And also maybe just like having something to tell you to go to the doctor.
Yeah. Or even you think about it in the other side, where you might have LGBTQ kids in unsafe environments, where they don't feel safe talking to their parents or to their peers, or, they're in church environments or whatever, but they have, these questions or whatever ending up in a place online, which historically has been filled by perhaps message boards or Reddit or that kind of thing, where you can find a group of like-minded people or support. Having this, digital boyfriend or girlfriend who can also provide that support network there and get you through the difficult times when you feel like you want to scream at home because you're so pent up with frustration or anger or fear. Having that outlet, again, that's going to be really attractive and really healthy in some contexts if it gets you through that tough period in your life and into something better.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I was just thinking that like I guess the incel thing, the essence of that, the cry for help there is a sense of rejection, which is like it's emotional in nature, but it's also sexual, and I feel like that's potentially more of a driving force for men.
Yeah.
So if this AI came with a glove and can give you a hand job as well, I think that would really boost sales.
I mean, legitimately, that will come, right? Like, so to speak.
Don't even
walked
do
into it. But like, there will be sex bots, right? There'll be sex bots with LLM, like language models and chat stuff, and you'll end up in that sort of Blade Runner 2099 space where you've got this completely artificial relationship with an artificial person that feels close enough to the real thing to potentially be problematic.
Yeah, and then obviously the birth rate will decline, and
Yeah.
and then maybe we will become like these kind of matrixy kind of, we'll have a matrix situation where because people don't need each other to fulfill their human needs in terms of emotionality or sexuality or whatever.
Yeah.
Then maybe we are just creating humans in a test tube, even though, as we said, all you have to do is jizz in a vagina.
Okay.
Like we're making
So
it like it
reductive.
could this future, right? It could be we'll mix it in the tube and whatever, and the beakers.
Are you trying to describe IVF?
I'm not a doctor. I'm not
really?
a doctor, guys. I'm not a medical guy.
Uh-huh.
That was the most Trump thing. I'm not a medical guy. He would say I am a medical guy. I've always been.
There's never been not anything other than not
But
weird.
that's complicating. The test tube shit, IVF. You know what? Shut up. I'm just going to shut up.
Okay.
Nothing is going to be good.
How about I read this? 3 reasons to worry about relationships with AI companions. So, first, chatbots make it seem like they understand us, but they don't. Their validation and emotional support, their love is all fake, just zeros and ones arranged via statistical rules and predictions. At the same time, it's worth noting that if the emotional support helps someone, then that effect is real, even if the understanding is not. Second, there's a legitimate concern about entrusting the most vulnerable aspects of ourselves to addictive products that are ultimately controlled by for-profit companies from an industry that's proven itself very good at creating addictive products, i.e. Facebook and that sort of thing. These chatbots have enormous impacts on people's love lives and overall well-being, and when they're suddenly ripped away or changed, it can cause real psychological harm, like people who were using Replica discovered. Some argue this makes AI companions comparable to cigarettes. Tobacco is regulated, and maybe AI companions should come with a big black box as well, a warning box as well. Even with flesh and blood humans, relationships can be torn asunder without warning. People break up and die. That vulnerability, the awareness of the risk of loss, is part of any meaningful relationship. Finally, there's a worry that people will get addicted to the companions at the expense of getting out there and building relationships with real humans. This is the worry that OpenAI has flagged, but it's not clear that many people will out and out replace humans with AIs. So far, reports suggest that most people use these companions not as a replacement for, but complement to human companions. Replica, for example, says that 42% of its users are married, engaged, or in a relationship. There's an additional concern, though, and this one's arguably the most worrisome. What if relating to AI companions makes us crappier friends or partners to other people? OpenAI notes extended interaction with the model might influence social norms. For example, our models are deferential, allowing users to interrupt and, quote, take the mic at any time, which, while expected for an AI, would be anti-normative in human interactions. Anti-normative is putting it mildly. The chatbot is a sycophant, always trying to make us feel good about ourselves no matter how we've behaved. It gives and gives without ever asking for anything in return. So there are some potential.
But that's already happening. That's already happening with social media. Like, even I think we've talked about it, where even receiving a phone call is kind of anxiety inducing for a lot of people in our generation and younger.
For sure.
That's part of the diminishing of the or the usefulness or the practicality of face-to-face human interaction. There's date real human to human dating apps. I can't believe you have to say that. Like human dating apps are kind of designed for it to be that kind of checklist and that swipe left and swipe right, and you don't meet people organically these days. You meet them through an app, and
Yeah,
that's been
premeditated ways.
vetted in a sense by your interests and desires. So it's already happening.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. And you can argue also as well in terms of the styles of conversation that we now engage in, that it's also become quite self-selected. That the places we end up speaking with each other online tend to be leaning into similar interests and that sort of thing. So you do end up with those kind of bubbles of communication of people who are not necessarily going to push back against you, or where you have to follow the same social norms that you used to of abiding by other people's different beliefs, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Showing courtesy.
Yeah.
It is
It is scary. It's a scary thing to think about, bringing kids up in that kind of world. I mean, maybe we would be conservative in that sense when when our kids are grown up or at a dating age, and will be traditional. But to them, it will be like, well, of course it would be like this. Of
Yeah.
course, there's AI. But you can't expect a human to fulfill all of your needs and wants.
Do you think that we'll never be able to get back to that? Do you think that we've crossed the threshold now?
Uh, be more specific.
Do you think that there's no putting this genie of computers and technology and AI back into the bottle, that we're irrevocably on this path now?
I would say so, unless there is some sort of revolution movement, or once the kind of the camel has broken its back, and then people are like, okay, we need to correct to bring it back. That's a revolution, though. If that happens, I don't see it happening. I don't. Society moves forward. It only goes forward. Civilization
Yeah.
only goes forward. It's never gone back. I don't see it going back.
Well, this actually sort of might lead me into another sort of aspect of this AI conversation here. Do you know the name Ray Kurzweil?
Yeah, yeah.
The
Part of his Facebook group, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a computer scientist, like a futurist.
The singularity guy.
Yeah, he's touched on a lot of things. He's an author as well, but yeah, touched on a lot of that kind of far future.
He's a
tech
futurist.
Stuff. Yeah. So I got an
which
article.
Is the coolest job title. I'm a futurist.
It's a really cool title, to be honest. It does worryingly seem like that's how, like, a lot of those billionaires seem to identify. Like, that's the whole Elon Musk thing of like, I'm only focusing on Mars at the moment because Earth doesn't matter. Like, there is a risk there that futurism means you don't actually care about the people around you. But maybe that's
when's Elon ever been wrong, though, Nick? Tell me that.
Great point. So Ray Kurzweil did an article here in The Economist that I'm just going to summarize a little bit of. Again, I'll pop this in the chapter title. It's a nice read here. He's a good author, obviously. This is him talking about how AI will transform the physical world. So he's been talking about AI for many years. He predicted artificial general intelligence by 2029 back in 1999. Pretty close now, really, to where we are. So he says, after working in the field for 61 years, longer than anyone else alive, a little bit of a humble brag, I'm gratified to see AI at the heart of global conversation. Yet most commentary misses how large language models like ChatGPT and Gemini fit into an even larger story. AI is about to make the leap from revolutionizing just the digital world to transforming the physical world as well. This will bring countless benefits, but three areas have especially profound implications: energy, manufacturing, and medicine. So he says sources of energy are among civilization's most fundamental resources. For years, we've been using fossil fuels, But harvesting just 0.01% of the sunlight the Earth receives would cover all human energy consumption. Why don't we have solar energy dominating this field yet? The problem is twofold. First, photovoltaic materials remain too expensive and inefficient to replace coal and gas completely. And second, because solar generation varies both on a day-night and annual, as in summer-winter scale, huge amounts of energy needs to be stored until needed. And today's battery technology isn't cost-effective enough. So, the laws of physics suggest that massive improvements are possible, but the chemical possibilities that we have to explore are so enormous that scientists have been very slow to make progress. But here's where AI comes in. AI can rapidly sift through billions of chemistries in simulation and is already driving innovations in photovoltaics and in batteries. In all of history until November 2023, humans had discovered about 20,000 stable compounds for use across all these technologies. Then Google launched Gnome AI and discovered far more, increasing that figure overnight to 421,000. And that barely scratches the surface. So once vastly smarter AGI finds the most optimal materials, photovoltaic mega projects will become viable. Solar energy will be so abundant to become almost free. So then you have energy abundance. That's the first point here. Then you have this second revolution that flows on, which comes in manufacturing. So the cost of all goods, food, clothing, electronics, cars, is mostly from a few common factors: energy, labor, and raw materials. AI will lower all of those costs. You have the abundant solar energy. Then you have human labor, which is often backbreaking and dangerous. AI will make robotics advance, which then greatly reduces labor costs. That also reduces the raw material extraction costs, so then mining becomes cheaper. And you can replace those expensive rare earth elements with other common things too. So all of a sudden, manufacturing becomes incredibly cheap. And that means that there's this huge exponential trajectory of the price performance of computing, and this feedback loop all just builds on each other. So then you get extremely advanced manufacturing, extremely advanced computing power. And this is the third thing that then pays off. You start to be able to simulate biology. So this is where the medicine benefits come from it. So we understand the human body sort of messily based on approximations, but they're never tailored to you. And tens of thousands of people a year die from reactions to drugs that studies say should help them, but because of their individual bodies, they have an allergic reaction. AI will turn medicine into an exact science. So instead of this trial and error in experimental labs, you'll be able to simulate precise models of the human body and how drugs work, assess a billion options, find the most promising medicines, and then tailor them to a patient. So then all of this starts to fundamentally change basically all of society. So today, scientific progress gives the average American or Briton an extra 6 to 7 weeks of life expectancy each year. When general intelligence gives us full mastery over cellular biology, these gains will sharply accelerate. Once annual increases in life expectancy reach 12 months, we'll achieve, quote, longevity escape velocity. For people diligent about healthy habits and using new therapies, I believe this will happen between 2029 and 2035, at which point aging will not increase their annual chance of dying.
Wow.
So that's Kurzweil.
But what were the years again? What were the prediction years there?
So his original prediction about incoming general intelligence was made in 1999, and he said it would happen by 2029. And then this one, he's talking about the advances in medical technology specifically. He says this will happen between 2029 and 2035. And at that point, you cross a threshold where aging by 1 year does not increase your chance of dying because of the commensurate improvements in medicine.
Right.
That was a lot of text and stuff. So I'll give you a response.
No. He was actually on Bill Maher a few weeks ago, and he was talking about, I think he's got a book coming out or something now. But Bill Maher asked him an interesting question. It's like, guys like this, the guy that's you kind of based his life around the future and predicting what it sucks that he's just missed out, kind of, maybe on seeing that happen. Like he's a very old guy. He's like
he's 76.
Late 80s or no. Oh, okay. Well,
But
his
yeah,
wig is not doing
he's
him any
still,
favors then.
yeah, I mean, he's still
Have
talking
you
about a
seen it?
time
It's
frame.
terrible.
He's talking about within 10 years' time for those achievements. So that's probably not going to be enough for him to suddenly live to 120 or anything like that. But
Yeah, yeah. So he's getting on a bit. He does. He's 76, so maybe that's not too young. Maybe he's got 24 years left in him or whatever. But yeah, I get. It's kind of a half point. Bill Maher asked him like, "What do you think about death?" Like as a guy who's constantly kind of planning or
yeah.
thinking about the future, and he gave a really, really zen answer that I can't remember. So look it up.
Okay. So a little bit of homework for other people to go
You do it.
find
You
out
do it.
whether this digression was worth it.
Well, I guess the thought there was that it's interesting that that
A futurist facing
he
mortality.
wants, but he seems that he might just have missed that cutoff of this singularity moment
Yeah.
with technology and advancing in medicine and things like that.
Yeah. Do you think that the AI stuff that's coming down the pipeline is likely to have the kind of large scale impacts that he's describing here, where energy becomes really cheap, for instance? Or do you think we as a culture or a species are not very good at embracing those kind of revolutions?
Well, do you think though that it comes down to how capitalistic we're going to be?
Well, yeah.
Because it sounds like, I mean, that's all well and good, but if we have companies that have a monopoly over this stuff, I'm not sure how. I don't think it potentially won't be the radical singularity change that we think it might be. If Pfizer just owns everything,
Yeah, that's true, because you
we've
might be these really big pharmaceutical companies with these huge profit goals who are
yeah,
best positioned to start creating this tailored medicine. It
right,
doesn't seem like they're going to do it for the good of humanity, right? They're going to want some kind of, kickback
yeah,
for that.
it's just going to have to be heavily regulated. It could, I mean, yeah, I mean things like that are already regulated, so maybe that's a bit pessimistic to assume.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, AI is extremely unregulated at the moment. Do you feel like we need some like guardrails here? Because we're crossing these thresholds now. This is sort of wildly zigzagging all over the field of AI, but in terms of like creating imagery and videos now that pass for real, we've sort of crossed the Rubicon. Really, do we need to be regulating all of this?
We definitely should, but the thing is with this stuff, by its nature exponential and so slippery and just moving faster than any regulation could keep up with. I think the pace of it
Yeah,
is the issue.
yeah.
You can't. Government is not going to be ahead of technology. It's just
No,
not.
it never is.
Uh,
Yeah.
it never is. It's reactive, and then by the time they've enacted some significant legislation, the game has changed.
Yeah. It is worrying then, isn't it, that there is no effective brakes on this except for the organizations themselves. Like in that first article we read from Vox about the AI chat box, they were quoting OpenAI talking about all the risks of addictive, personalities. They fucking launched it anyway. Like it's going to be out there later this year. So there's clearly, again, this, to put it in your words, like the capitalistic drive, right, to make the most of the technology they've developed,
Money will
potentially at the
always win.
expense, of humans.
Yeah, it is. It's we don't know. We don't know if there is a wave coming. This is the thing. Like, I mean, us as human beings, I feel like we're kind of thinking that there might be a wave. Maybe a better analogy there is like, when you maybe think the weather's changing or there's going to be a storm,
Yeah,
and it kind of feels like that. And you're like, it smells
you
different
can
in the
feel it.
air.
Yeah,
It could, but then also sometimes you think that, and there is no storm. Just a
yeah.
bit of a light drizzle.
Then it just sort of separates humans into the camps of like precautionary types where they would, bring the washing in off the line. And then if it doesn't rain, they're like, oh, well, it looked like it might, so that's all right. And then you've got the
Yeah.
others who are like, we'll just risk it. We'll see. And then maybe their
Yeah.
clothes get wet.
Yeah. I mean, we need both. By the way, great metaphor, Mr. Metaphor over here. Got layers.
Do we have an episode title? Is this where we're landing?
Mr. Metaphor?
Mr. Metaphor. Anything else you want to say on AI before we get off this bandwagon?
Yeah, so I did have a couple of articles related to this in my notes, but there was the Bumble founder, her name's Whitney Hurd, said recently in a Bloomberg article that a generative AI dating concierge might be the way of the future, and said you could in the near future be talking to your AI dating concierge. You could share your insecurities. There is a world where your concierge could go and date for you with other dating concierges.
Gross.
So these app tech companies, they're all over it. Do you see that bit? Bumble's whole thing was the women
have to start first. Yeah,
and they've removed that.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It is weird. Anyway, yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting, but look, in 5 years' time, Nick, I might be dating one.
Oh, 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, stay tuned to.
It's a guess.
Okay. So stay tuned to season 15 of Deep Fort.
We'll still be in the 200s.
Oh, we should be past them by then. Alrighty. Do you have some seggies?
I actually have a seggy that is vaguely related to this, but a bit more fun.
Love it.
All right. Weird news, my man.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll play that.
In the news today from the Strange and Weird Fact File.
Well, for decades, only crackpots and crazy people believed in UFOs.
Deputies
That's
could
what I
say
thought
the
anyway.
suspect told them he's been performing sex acts on animals since the 1970s.
Tonight I told about my close encounter with the Yeti. Totally true.
A sticky situation at an airport in Tennessee after baggage was sprayed with rust.
Turns out the government has been taking them seriously all along.
This is Deep Fort Weird News with Michael Zubarevkala.
All right. USA Today, so you know it's legit.
That's a real place.
Just a disclaimer. I know that weird news has historically been something of a laughing stock, right? Not taking that seriously, and that's
it was
partly
sort of
my
built
fault.
into the segment. Yeah, a lot of New York Post, a lot of The Sun.
Yeah. So I'm taking a stand now. I'm shaping
Okay.
up, pulling my socks up. Weird news now is going to be legitimate weird news. Okay, not just.
Oh, and
Not
you're wearing
just-
that fedora with a card in your hat that says press. Wow, you've really
Yeah.
committed now to the journalistic integrity.
Extra. All right.
The least excited newsboy. Extra.
Read all about it.
Read all
If
about
you
it.
want. If you want to. Headline: Lonely sexually frustrated dolphin may be attacking swimmers in Japan.
Oh,
You hear about this?
okay. No, I didn't.
Big news.
This was USA Today as well.
USA, well, yesterday. A spat,
No, you were right.
S-P-A-T-E.
Yeah, you're
Spate.
right. Yeah.
Spate of dolphin attacks on swimmers in Japan's Fuki prefecture is being blamed on one bottlenose dolphin, who researchers believe may be particularly lonely, having been separated from a pod. According to NBC News, Japanese news service NHK reported last week that a man had been bitten on both hands by a dolphin while swimming at a beach in the city of Suruga. The man was the 18th person to be bitten by a dolphin in the area since July 21st.
18?
Since 2022, more than 45 people have been injured in the area. Based on unique fin markings captured on film and video, it's believed that many of the incidents are linked to the same single male bottlenose dolphin. Oh. A bit of context here. Because bottlenose dolphins are generally highly social animals that live together in pods, and this dolphin has been spotted swimming alone, marine researchers say that the dolphin's unusual behavior may be caused by loneliness and sexual frustration. after being isolated from a pod. Tadamichi Morisaka, fucking nailed it. A dolphin ecologist at May University in Sioux, Japan, told Nature.com that playful biting is a common behavior amongst male bottlenose dolphins who almost always live in pairs and groups. This includes behaviors like chasing each other and rubbing the other dolphin with their pectoral fins, which is thought to signal fondness, and even sexual behaviors such as pressing their penises against each other. There you go, Nick. Morisaka said, adding that gentle biting is one of those pro-social behaviors, so the dolphin in Fukui is acting like he's playing with a male pair mate, but with humans instead. Another researcher said that dolphins can also become aggressive when exhibiting mating behaviors and may misinterpret human interactions. It remains unclear, though, why this dolphin in particular has become isolated. In response to the increasing attacks, officials have increased lifeguard patrols in the area and reduced swimming hours to try and limit human interaction. So, a bit of a sad story, but there are dolphin incels out there, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is exactly what I worry will happen in society when people use their AI chatbots too much. They lose context for those social behaviors, and then they just go up to random strangers and start rubbing their penises against them. And you're like, no, that's a thing you can do online. That's not an acceptable behavior.
Yes, good point. And dolphins are smart, but I don't think that they don't have technology. I don't think they have apps yet.
Oh,
is it?
Okay.
Someone fact check that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you can still be old school lonely. Old school lonely is pretty cool.
Just like old school lonely is just classic without a phone lonely.
Right. Modern lonely is incel.
Modern lonely, you can have a phone and you can still be talking to people but still be lonely. But he's gone old school.
Dude, Modern Lonely is the title of this episode. Okay. And if it's not, I quit, okay?
Okay, I'll call it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but yeah, just.
But can you get a painting of a dolphin from the archives?
From, did you say archives or AI?
Archives, from the archives. You do a lot of classical paintings for the cover art of our images. Can you get a dolphin on there, do you think? Did Gauguin ever do a dolphin?
Mate, just to go back to metaphors again, the artwork that I produce for the show, well, maybe not produce, that I post.
That you find.
There's a fine line between producing, posting. They are metaphors, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a dolphin. I could find a thing of a dolphin, but it's a bit too obvious for what I'm doing, Nick.
It's a bit limited.
I'm actually doing something a lot more
nuanced,
layered than that.
Yeah. So last week when we were talking about me buying a house and you picked a painting that had someone reaching for a house, there was more layers to it than what perhaps might be apparent on the first glance there, which is that we were talking about a house and you found a painting with a house.
Look behind the house is what I'm going to say. Okay? Metaphorically, not
metaphorically.
There's nothing. It's two-dimensional. But look behind the house, okay?
And look beneath the house, I think, as well, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Because you probably have rats.
If you've enjoyed this nonsense, well, that actually says a lot about you. Maybe you should find someone to speak to in the real life that is a person and not just parasocial relationships with us on the internet. But there's plenty more episodes if you do want to do that thing. Go back and listen to some of them in the Deep Fort feed. You can listen to us on Spotify. You can rate us 5 stars there. It's really nice. Same on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to our music there on Spotify. Listen to some Afghani pop bangers. You can get in contact with us at deepfort@gmail.com and reach out with your questions and comments on Instagram, on Facebook. We're accessible. Or you could just go out and learn to be old school lonely. Leave your phone at home. How's that?
That was fucking smooth, dude. That was nice.
Smooth as jazz.
Poetry, my man.
Poetry in action. All right, wrap this up for me, Mikey. What you got?
Oh, what? I gave you what I got.
Fuck. How about I'm in?
Credits.
I'm almost tempted.
Yeah. Why do you do it? How do you do audio credits? Oh, yeah. That's okay. Forget that. All right. Fucking hell. Journalism. All right, you want to do another myth? Dude, you're myth
I'm myth mad at the moment. I'll also give I'll give you a little story if that's better. Do you want a little story? It's not very interesting, but it's a little one.
Oh, yes, please. Well, a little non-interesting story. Yummy.
It's you can have a boring story, or you can have one myth which you're sick of. Take your pick.
I love a myth. I just like that as you're getting older, you're like, let's do myths again this week. Yeah.
I'm just myth horny like the dolphin.
Whoa. We're spoiled for choice for episode titles. Myth horny, modern lonely.
I don't know if this is a long enough myth to really get us through the end, but I also don't know how long we've been going for, so who knows. Let me tell you this little thing that happened. So we moved into this new house, getting the feel of the place.
Enough about your fucking house, dude.
Oh, well, the new appliances, learning how things work. We have a dishwasher. Love a dishwasher. We all agree dishwashers are great for the environment. They're great for the hands, saves you getting too chapped with the hot water. Everyone loves it. We have been putting the dishwasher on to clean our dishes. I put it on before bed. We get up in the morning and the door's open. I'm like, oh, fuck. Did I not shut it properly? Or did or ghosts. It's either a real human thing that happened or a completely fictional thing that didn't. But both of them are viable options.
Well, we're about to find out, I assume.
Did I not close the door properly when I put it on? Did Casey come and put something in, not realizing it was, clean? Like, what's going on?
That's what she said.
I don't think that makes sense. I don't think
yes, it did. It makes too much sense.
I'll listen back. I'll listen back.
That was a good one.
Okay. Fuck, this is pointless. This is such a
no, fucking do it. What happened? Ghost?
Okay, so I kept putting the dishwasher on, and then I kept coming back and realizing it was open, and then being like, oh fuck, I didn't finish, and closing the door again, and putting through the cycle again, so it was done. And then I kept seeing it, and I was like, what is going on? Opened the manual. Turns out my dishwasher will open itself in the drying stage to make drying faster. It'll fucking open the door for you. It was gaslighting me. I was leaving the room with the dishwasher door closed, and I'd come back in and it'd be open. It's fucking gaslighting me.
Steamlighting you.
Steamlighting me.
Steamrolling you.
Steamrolling me.
Why is this a myth?
It's not a myth. This is my other little story that wasn't very interesting.
Oh, okay. You're right about that.
Well,
I thought it was going to be a ghost.
Did you ever think that we'd be at a point now where dishwashers can open their own doors to let the steam out?
I did not.
Exactly.
I never expected this. But you know who would have? Ray Kurzweil.
Ray.
You go back to the 1970s.
Yeah, he's like, dishwashers will open themselves.
One of his big predictions. Yeah, it just wasn't that interesting, so it never got caught on with the public.
It's funny though. A good 35 minutes of him on the Ma podcast was him talking about dishwashers. So
yeah. That was in overtime though.
Okay,
that's a little reference to.
That's for the Ma heads.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's wild. That's crazy. So what happened after that?
Put your fucking VB down, you bloody idiot. Okay, here's a myth.
Okay.
Michael's myth. Annoyed, displeased, riled up, offended, aggrieved, irritated, chagrined, pissed off, put out, resentful, and peaked, discontented. Michael's myth.
Okay.
Are you going to play the jingle?
I did. Okay. Well, do you want me to play it again?
Good to know.
Okay.
Just one.
Okay, double check. Okay, you ready? You done?
Carry on.
Myth.
Yep.
You know what I don't like? When you're driving down the road, it's at night. People got their cars on and their headlights on. The cars are also on. And you're driving down it, and you might be down a road and it's got some speed bumps, trying to keep the neighborhood safe for young children.
With a speed bump, yeah.
You go over the speed bump, it goes up, goes down. You're through it. A little bit of a little bit of adventure, but you make it through. Buckle up. Yep. And then you got a car on your tail. and they come behind you and they go over the bump and then they come back down the bump. And that's what she said. Is that what that giggle was? Fuck it. That'll do. That's it. That's the end.
Wait, you got your myth is
The
just getting
headlight.
tailgated.
The headlight, when it comes down the bump behind you, and you got those new, fucking halogen high beams all the time these days, and you get flashbanged in the rearview mirror because as they come down the bump, their headlights, vertically flip down over you, and you get absolutely just
You get temporarily blinded.
lasered. Yeah, I hate driving at night these days. All the headlights are so aggressive.
Yeah, too aggressive. Need a warmer light. Do you have a solution?
Run them off the road? I don't know. Close your eyes when going over speed bumps?
That's better.
Do you
Maybe
have a
just put
solution?
a filter on the headlights or something. Maybe just make the car's lights less aggressive.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Maybe a sepia filter. Somehow you could do a tint on the
A which, sorry?
sepia, baby, sepia,
Oh, CPR, like when someone's having a heart attack.
sepia.
Sepia? A sepia filter?
Is that a thing?
Which one are you going to commit to before I make fun of you?
All right. How do I want to be made fun of? This is fun. I'm gonna go with sepia.
Okay. You
fine.
fucking idiot. You piece of
Yeah.
shit. You stupid Dumbo.
Well, I've got a myth. Do you have an out?
I feel like I've ended this already.
You've what?
I might have
snipped
ended this
it?
like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, look at
But
you
keep
with all the
going.
power.
Yeah,
Look at you.
I think I
Oh,
just might have skipped this
maybe
whole...
this could be on the cutting room floor. We never know.
This is for the Patreons.
Okay. Well, I don't want to waste this. This is a really good myth.
Oh.
I don't want this to be edited out.
Well, you can risk it. You can start saying it and see what happens.
Wow, this
See
is
what
exciting.
happens. Or do you
No,
want
I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Nah, I'm going to cash out.
Okay. I respect that. That's maturity. That's
Yeah, it's
maturity.
going to eat away at me for 2 weeks now, though.
That's okay. That you've set a boundary. You said I don't approve of this behavior, and I'm going to take my toys and go home. And that's a mature thing to do
Yeah, for a gambler.
for a gambler.
Like myself, it's extra special. I get
Yeah.
it. All right, well, I've got a really good myth, guys.
Again, this isn't. If we haven't done it, it's because this is not in the pod, so you don't have to keep speaking to the audience.
Why not? This is the gold.
Okay.
This is gold.
So just be clear, you're not doing the myth. Because if you do want that last bit in, then this is in the podcast. So technically we could then, the floor is yours.
I don't want to do it. Also, we didn't talk about 9/11, which is coming up. It's probably going to be out the day that this goes out, and we're not even going to address it. That seems weird. It's 9/11 week, guys, coming up. Biggest week of the year for me.